Mike McCool here with the Royal Examiner. I'm in the studio today, and with me is Phillip Hunt and Butch Hammond. Butch is from the church at Skyline, and I got to turn it around here a little bit. Phillip Hunt is with Restore Warren. So Phillip is going to be starting a ministry work here in Warren County. So Butch and him wanted to come in and tell the community about it and what's happening, and kind of fill us in. So why don't you, who wants to start, but do you want to give us some background on it? I think you were telling me before we went on.
Sure, yeah. Restore Warren was started from a police officer in Culpeper County who really truly wanted to help out some drug addicted and the addiction that he was having in his county. And the elephant in the room, there's a big drug addiction in our county.
It's amazing how many overdoses we've had. We had more overdoses than COVID cases.
We did. Mm-hmm. And we've lost some folks, young folks, dear to us. And so Phil came to me and said, man, this has been on my heart, part of his background, and he'll tell you, he was involved in drugs, and went to jail, got out, gave his life to the Lord, and his life has been completely changed. And he's a great guy. I love him to death. But this guy started this, and so we kind of got a hold of it and said, this looks good, and it's a Christ-centered program. It's kind of like a 12-step, but we don't leave you. This is every week, year round, and so we're starting it up. Phil's going to be doing the ministry, and so that's kind of how it got originated.
Well, Phil, tell us about. Give us some background on what drove you to this vision?
Well,
not one thing, I'm sure, but
I grew up in Washington D.C. in Alexandria, and by the time I was 14, I was in and out of adoption agencies, children's homes, and then eventually, when I was 16, I went to prison. Got out of prison, went back to prison, and then that last leg while I was in prison, the second time I was a heroin addict for about 2 years, and it's a struggle. I've been messing with drugs all my life when I was younger, and it cost me 10 years of my life. And anyways, I was in prison, and I couldn't read and write, and just was figuring on getting out and going back to doing what I was doing, and the gospel of Jesus Christ was shared with me, and went back to school, got my GED, went on to college. I'm a business owner, got out in 1986, married the lady that introduced me to Jesus Christ a year later in 87, and got a couple of kids. They're all doing good. I lost a daughter to an adoption because of the things that I'd done. But that is restored now. I found her, and we're doing great. And I just want people to know that there's hope, and if God can turn my life around and he can give me a second chance, then he can give anyone a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance. The thing with addiction is, and what people don't understand is, people want help that have addiction, but when they're trapped, when you're high, you want the help. When you're not high, you don't want any help because you want the next high. Because when you're high, you start thinking about things. When you're not high, the only thing you think about is getting high. And I just want people to know that there is a program here that you don't have to get high. And if you do get high and you fail, we're still here. We're not going to abandon you. We're not going to leave you. We want you to get help. We want you to get better. We want you to be healthy. We want you to come and know the saving grace of Jesus Christ. But at the same time, if you don't want to believe in Jesus Christ, that's okay. Come to the program. I would prefer to minister Jesus Christ to you, but if you're not ready for that, it's okay. The program's here. We want to help you. And when people succeed, that means that God succeeds. And if God succeeds, I succeed because he's using me, and there's no judgment here. I can't stand it when somebody says, well, how can you do anything with that person? They're a heroin addict. They got so much baggage. And at the same time, the same person that's saying that don't realize that they have an addiction. Coffee, cigarettes, food, or the addiction of bad mouthing.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's right.
You know, and that's what we're here
Addiction
for.
is
addiction.
part of life, and you have to learn to control it. And you mentioned about people. You have to get people where they're at.
Absolutely.
They can't be where you're at. They got to be where they're at, and that's where you start, and that's where the gospel starts.
And that's the unique thing about the program too, Mike, is it's for all addictions. It's not just drug addictions. It's for all addictions. And it's an open program. And what that means is those who have been affected by the addictions of others, like moms and dads and aunts and uncles and husbands and wives, they're invited to come as well. It's not just, when someone's addicted to something, it affects not just that person, it affects the entire family.
Exactly.
And so we want to minister, we want to be in the lives of the entire family, not just the person who's going through that.
So you're going to have an orientation meeting. When is that?
Orientation meeting is on 7/20/21. So that's 3 sevens. It's God's number.
That's a heavenly number.
Yes, it is.
and it's going to be from 7 to 8, and it's going to be at the community center here in Warren County. We just acquired that, and we put the down payment on it. And
Well, we didn't buy it.
we're purchasing the
You
time.
rented the space.
We rented the space. Yeah.
We rented the space, right? But for someone that come from a broken home, and was told that I'd never amount to anything, and God has fulfilled everything that I've ever wanted for me. He gave me my family. He gave me loving children, a wife that held me up, and the issue. Part of the problem with addiction is, if you have no one in your corner fighting for you, you have nothing to fight for.
Exactly.
And it's just, it's a daily routine for you. It's like getting up and going to work. I'm going to go get high today. But if you have someone that loves you and truly loves you and cares for you, you want to make changes for the better because you're not happy with where you are. And once you realize that, then you can take the steps forward to better your life. And you will, if I tell people, well, if you come to this program, you're not going to fail, you're not going to do this, I'd be lying. And if a person does fail, they do get higher, they do get drunker, they do whatever. We're not going to kick them to the curb. We're going to work harder.
Right.
Because you have a very hard addiction there, so it takes a lot more time. Some people take more time than others. And you can't put everyone in the same barrel.
No, there's not a plan that everyone drops right into. We're all individuals, and everything's a little different. I think the advantage, what you're talking about, is you're going to be there to give them that helping hand, just like Jesus is.
Absolutely.
He's available there to you, but you have to ask. God doesn't do it for you, but He's there to give you that hand once you accept it.
Well, God wants you to have the green beans, but you know what? He ain't going to put them in the ground. He give you the green beans. It's up to you to go out there and dig it up.
There's that painting of Jesus knocking on the door, but if you notice the painting, there's no doorknob on it.
Exactly.
It's on the inside. You have to open the door in order to let Him in. And I think people don't really see that in the picture. And I was reading a story. I thought, I really like that. And you're knocking on the door. Because normally you hear the quote, knock and you shall,
Yeah.
And then I'm looking and someone said, well, look, there's no doorknob on that door.
Yep.
And I thought, that's really...
He's a gentleman. He never pushes his way in anywhere.
Yeah, it's like the footsteps in the sand. I mean, that's a powerful poem.
It is.
And people say, well, you left me. No, I carried you.
Yeah.
At the worst times of your life, I was there.
And I think that's what we're talking about doing, is giving people that helping hand to pull them out of an addiction. But it's a process. In fact, it doesn't never end. I'm sure that you can speak to that, it's what they say, once an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic, but just not today.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, they say, well, how long was it before you didn't want any more heroin or, to do? I said, I don't know, because I still today, if I fall in the right situation and the pressure comes in the right way, I think about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it, but I think about it. But I don't go around the people that do it, because if I fall and I'm at a weak point, I'm around people that are doing it all the time.
They're not going to help you.
No, they're going to say, "Hey, man, here, this will help you," and that's not what I want.
Well, I know someone that had quit smoking for 50 years, and and they said, every once in a while, I'm in the right situation at the right place, and I'll get that whiff of a smoke. And he said, I'll crave a cigarette. And he said, I really don't want one.
Yeah.
But the brain tells them that, and that's exactly the same thing. When you're addicted to something, the brain is a powerful instrument, and it's that last quarter inch to go from your ear to your brain. You know, what I mean, that's the hardest distance to travel. But I think it's true. We have to have a community. We are a fellowship of people.
Absolutely.
We are social animals. We need to be together with people, and we need people to help us. We can't do things alone, and that's the way God created us.
He didn't design us to be alone. If he did, he would have never created a woman.
Right.
You know?
A helpmate.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's another one of those pump. You read the scripture. Not over your head or under your head but by your side. And I think people forget that purpose of what God's created for mankind.
A guy asked me one time, he says, when you see a broken person, what do you see? I said, it's like I restore cars in old homes. And I said, when I see a person that's broken, I see a car in a field that nobody wants. Some cars are used and abused. Some cars are, treated with respect, taken care of, put in garages, and there's other cars that are just abused. And when I see them in a field and they're rusty and they're worthless, and people say that's a worthless piece of garbage. No, I'll drag that car home and for about 5 months restore that car. And when the paint is lustrous, the interior is just beautiful and smells good, and the chrome is popping, and everybody looks at it and they think that car was that way from the beginning.
Sure.
No, it wasn't. And
Just
then
like
you show them pictures of the car when you got it.
Yeah.
And they go, oh my gosh, that was that car? Yeah, well, that was me.
That's right. That's
That
your
was
life.
me. And
That's
God
right.
picked me up, and he restored me, and he brought me back to life, and he put luster, he put a heart in me, he put love in me, and he put accountability into me. And he gave me a woman, he gave me my children, he gave me a life. And now I want to give that back to the people that have been robbed by this disease. And it just hit me hard.
Well, I think something that people have a hard time wrapping their head around is that they believe there's a God, but they don't believe there's a devil.
He's real.
And I think that this is the work. The devil is working overtime, and if we believe in heaven, we have to believe there's a hell. I think that there's, that's the way.
Yeah.
That's a Pandora's box. And if you look in our schools today, you can see it all around.
Yes, and you can see it working overtime. But when you told me the story about the car, it reminded me of the story about the violin master. No one wanted to buy the violin until the master picked it up.
That's right.
And played it. Then all of a sudden the value went exactly the same thing. That's, they say God didn't make any junk.
Nope.
That's right.
It's not the tools you have. You can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't know how to use them tools, they're worthless.
Right.
But when the master picks the tool up with love and starts to work, that's the biggest difference in the world.
Yeah. Well, Phil, you have your work cut out for you. I know Butch will help you. But
He's a
you've
great
got God
guy.
on your side, so, if God is for me, who can be against me?
Just a little note about Butch here. If you would've
Tell a
told me-
story on
It's
him
time
now.
to it's time to
Is it
go.
to end this conversation?
If you were to told me when I was doing that 10-year stretch in prison that my friend would have been an ex-correctional officer, my best friend, I would have told you, you are a loony. You're crazy. And he was a correctional officer in the facility where I was released from. And we have been best friends. We've known each other for 30 years.
Yeah, every bit of it.
And we've been through some highs and we've been through some lows. But he's always been consistent. And when he became a pastor, it made me inside rejoice for him because he is a consistent guy. He loves people, and people, especially people that are broken, this man reaches out hard to. And God has found favor, and he's found favor with God. And I'm just proud to have him as a friend and someone that I can talk to, and especially my pastor.
That's great. That's great. That's what we need. We need that hope, and we need to have people to help to spread God's love.
Yeah.
God is good
All the time.
all the time.
And if you listen to the devil, he'll tell you you're worthless and you're no good. But if you listen to God, he'll tell you how much he loves you.
Well, the devil sometimes tells you how great you are. And we got to be able to discern that.
Oh, pride.
That pride will get you every time.
Just before the fall, they say.
Just before the fall. Well, Phil, you got your work cut out for you, and I'm glad that we're having this availability to us. I mean, it is a problem in every community, not
Yes.
just in Warren County. And good luck on that.
It has to start somewhere.
You got to start, get that hand out there and help people up. I think you'll be surprised that people will come out of the woodwork and help you to do it. So that's on July 7th. They're having an orientation meeting, July 7th. It's 7 o'clock at the Warren County Community Center, which is right there on Villa Avenue. It's a great little facility we have that a lot of community organizations take advantage of, and I'm glad that you are.
Absolutely.
So mark your calendar if you want to find out. If you or someone you know needs that helping hand or just want to find out more information, attend their orientation. It's July 7th, 7 p.m. at the Community Center.
Hope to see you there.
Yes, hope, big word.
And
Again,
Mike,
Phil, appreciate you coming in.
Can I add too? If
Sure.
you've got any questions before that, you can give the church a call at 540, and I hope I get the number right, 635-9003. The church's
All right,
call.
right. And we'll put the website there to check it
Okay,
on so
good.
we can do that. Appreciate that. Again, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you very
and
much
sharing
for
this
opening the
learning.
facility
Sure,
to us.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great day.